Hey, it's El Presidente here from the Death Grind band Alpha-o-MAGA. Uh, you guys are asking what the meaning of the name is. Obviously, you've got Alpha Omega right at the beginning and the end, and Make America Great Again, the previous slogan of the now exiting President Trump. Just seemed to be the end, right? It was the end of civility, the end of compassion, and a more authoritarian type of government that he was trying to have go through, that the Republican Party seems to kind of permit at their furthest extremes. So it's really kind of a play on words, a bit of a dad joke about a bad person doing bad things in the United States and how that bleeds over into everywhere else. Talk about Make America Grind Again. Well, that album was started as a bit of a joke project. Love grindcore, always have. I got some friends that do quite a bit of grind themselves, and I figured, I wanted to take it back to its roots, get back into that like punk infused kind of crust feel, and really keep every song as short and to the point as possible. So that's why I don't think there's hardly a single song over 2 minutes, and if there are, that was probably a mistake. And then it's really just my take on what's been happening in United States politics and in global politics, and how it affects everybody. It may not affect us in our day-to-day life now, but it definitely will spill over, and I have seen a change in the 4 years of the Trump presidency, and just got to a point where I really wanted to speak about it. And it's absurdist, right? It's absurdist art, but it serves its purpose in highlighting the absurdity of where we are currently at. Lyrical content. Well, it really goes into kind of domestic policy that's being pushed by the Republican Party. Really, looking at the selfishness of the ruling elite, and how they're trying to feed misinformation and propaganda to keep the American public fighting against each other and fighting along with that which benefits the wealthy, right? So you've got guns don't kill people, teenagers with guns kill people, right? There's a gun epidemic in the United States. Everyone wants a gun. They think they're entitled to it through their Second Amendment rights. And that's probably fair, but having tighter gun control laws and limiting the kind of weapons that someone can have and the capacity of the magazines, right? Protecting children, like it's a hot button topic, and the NRA just sits there saying like, no, this isn't an assault rifle, this is a sporting rifle. Like, come on, man, that thing was designed Vietnam era to kill people as effectively as possible. Speaking about the AR-15, and yeah, people like it, but is it something that somebody in the public sector should have access to, right? I don't know, but people have their opinions. We talk about universal health care, right? Talking about letting all the old people die in death panel, right? Because that was one of the things they were talking about during the Affordable Care Act, or as everyone calls it, Obamacare, right? They're going to tell you that you're too old to live, and you're just going to have to suffer through it and die. And like, it just seemed like such an absurd thing to say, and it makes for good song lyrics, and hell, furniture shopping is just us quoting Donald Trump's rant about being famous and being able to be a chauvinist and treat women in a disrespectful manner, and that they just allow it. I think that speaks more to the kind of women that Donald Trump preys upon. But yeah, I mean, it's really just, we're trying to be a mirror of all the absurdity that we see, and we write lyrics to that. We have a new EP we dropped a few weeks ago that I collaborated with a couple of good friends from some death grind bands in the area, and it's more of the same. It's a little more of a aggressive, focused death grind sound, but the lyrical content is very similar, right? Speaking about the things that the current administration has done and some of the absurdities that have been said by them. So I guess it's kind of sad when absurdist art is, like, I don't have to reach far for absurdity, right? It's out there and it's in the mainstream, and it's being spouted off by the president and far right-wing groups. And in fairness, left-wing groups say some pretty absurd stuff too. There used to be a time when we could be moderate and meet in the middle, and that's really kind of what Alpha-o-MAGA is about. Is these fringe groups should stay on the fringes, right? And being able to compromise and be moderate and put the nation and families and friends before self is pretty important, and that's what we go for. Speaking about the album art, so for Make America Grind Again, I reached out to a local tattoo artist that I've had some tattoos done at his shop, and I said, hey, I want to have a picture of a elephant, which is the mascot of the Republican Party, and I want it to be tentacle porn-esque, right, where Statue of Liberty is being raped, right? The values of our nation are being raped by those in power, which at this time happen to be the Republicans. We have a wall with alligators because Trump wanted to build a wall, and he had said that at some point he wanted to have alligators in a moat along the wall as a deterrent. And then we have children in cages because I think everyone is aware of the human rights issues we've had of separating children from their parents, placing them in holding cells, and just some of the terrible things that we as a nation have perpetrated in the name of fear, right? I mean, there's absolutely nothing that would justify a blanket policy like that being done. So that's really what that album art is it is a graphical representation of all of the things that have happened in the last 4 years. Working with Horror, Pain, Gore, Death. So I was very fortunate in getting to start speaking with Horror, Pain, Gore, Death and the owner, Mike, for some time. And I had some projects that I'd sent over his way that weren't necessarily a fit for the direction the label was going, but always loved the label. There's a lot of solid Midwest bands that are on there, so and just solid bands in general. So check those guys out because they have an awesome roster of underground metal, and it's really geared towards that grimy, dark kind of feel that we like. And working with Mike has been great, right? It's better than we could have expected. It got our sound out to a group of people much quicker than we could have done on our own. The importance of working with them it's huge, right? They have fans of the label that just love the label. They curate and make sure that they have music that they think everyone would like. Labels are definitely important in that respect. As artists, we're building a brand, and to build that brand, we want to make sure we align with similar-minded people, similar artistic approaches, and Horror, Pain, Gore, Death does a great job of curating that, right? And it's a small label, independently run, and it's huge, the things that he does. Couldn't be happier with the result right now, and just very humbled that he was willing to take a chance on us as a new artist to his roster, and to work with us cooperatively on a distro deal. New music that I love. So really been writing quite a bit and haven't been paying a ton of attention to new music. Our homies in uh, Severed Head Shop have a new album that they're gonna bring out, and I've heard some of that, and it's gonna be amazing. So if you guys are into death grind and really good death grind, check out Severed Head Shop. Um, the new Napalm Death is great. One that's been flying under the radar for me that I think a lot of people should check out is Brave the Cold. Mitch Harris and Dirk Björnen are doing that band. I got turned on to it because I met Mitch several years ago and we stayed in touch. He's a great dude, and this project is just phenomenal, so that's a good one. Some of the local stuff, like there's a really cool porno grind scene in the Dayton, Ohio area. Putrid Liquid, Moiscus, there's just a handful of bands from Ohio, so if you're looking for some good porno grind, check out the Dayton, Ohio scene. They do some really awesome stuff. How the pandemic is affecting the scene. So we were going to do some shows this year with some of the collaborators I was working with, and unfortunately COVID hit, and it hit close to home. A couple members that worked in retail spaces got sick, so to err on the side of caution, that project was put on hiatus, and who knows if and when that'll come back. My other bands that I work with, we've done a couple shows, but with the recent spikes, I think it's a double-edged sword, right? Like, people move towards consuming things in small groups and on the internet anyway, so being able to do live streams is great, but being able to pull enough people to do a live stream is difficult as a small independent band. I think that people crave music and interaction. They crave social engagement, so I think the scene will be fine. It's just a matter of making it to the other side of that. Unfortunately, some great bands are going to fall apart due to financial restrictions. Hopefully they'll be able to come back as things ease up. Some amazing festivals are not going to be around for quite some time because of financial constraints. So it's really, how do we weather the storm and make it through the financial burdens that this places? And it's really just having a sense of community and supporting the scene, and giving money where you can, be it a Patreon donation, buying something on Bandcamp, picking up a shirt if there's a touring act that comes through and you feel like it's safe enough and comfortable enough for you to go and support. So the scene will be okay, but it's going to be a long road, right? I'm hoping that with the news of the vaccine, they are able to start doing shows again, socially distanced and responsibly at first, obviously, but I would hope that by this time next year, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, because right now we're probably about halfway through it and the light's a little ways out. And then the future of the band. Well, Alpha-o-MAGA just released Keep America Grinding October 23rd, so right before the elections. It was a self-released 13-minute, 8-song EP. It's been doing pretty good. It's, like I said earlier, it's a piece of art that we're very proud of, bringing some friends in to help and get a grimier death grind sound to it. I think does really well. That's probably going to be the direction of the band for the next several albums, if there are any. With Trump losing, we might not be Alpha-o-MAGA anymore. We might have a 2020 retrospective that we call Alpha-o-MAGA with an A side and a B side for what we've put out, and then switch the band to something else. But I mean, there's always going to be a need for bands like what we're doing and have done. You need absurdist people out there showing you the ridiculousness of what you're saying, shining a light on those fringe areas for people to be aware of and keep an eye on and make sure that they don't become mainstream. So I think there's a place for it. And we will definitely continue writing and releasing music, whether or not it is underneath the same band name, depends. I don't think Trump's going anywhere. I'm pretty sure he's still going to say a bunch of stupid shit, and you know, we'll probably have plenty of fodder to write more albums in the meantime, because the Republican Party is still very far right and very polarized. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, you know, check us out on Bandcamp and Spotify and everywhere else, and pick up that new album. It's digital release only, so if it does come out in physical, it'll probably be, like I said, on a retrospective of the year. And go check out our friends in Severed Head Shop and in Brave the Cold, because those guys are awesome. Thank you so much for the opportunity to do the interview, and stay heavy, stay brutal, and we will see you on the other side of this.